Hello, this is Legend TV. Today we introduce a player. In the mid-2000s at Manchester United, he formed the so-called Buffalo partnership with Wayne Rooney, the Little Beast. He played across the leagues in England and Italy, where he was occasionally struck by homesickness, but everywhere he went, he rose to become a top-tier player, an outstanding all-around forward. Small but like a roly-poly toy, he never went down thanks to his incredible balance. The name Buffalo El Toro suited him best. Carlos Tevez, alongside names like Messi, Aguero, and Otamendi, he hailed from Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina, and a city of football. Carlos Tevez was born in this football city on February 5, 1984. But within the great city of Buenos Aires, the district he was born into, Fuerte Apache, a slum plagued by poor utilities, murder and drug incidents made his childhood harsh. When he was about 8 months old, he suffered burns from boiling water, leaving a severe third-degree scar on his neck and chest. Due to his family's poverty, only minimal treatment was possible at the time. Furthermore, broken and twisted teeth from fights with neighborhood friends were things he earned in the rough streets. Poverty forced him to sustain himself on just a single egg, but dodging shards of glass while dribbling in the alleyways, he slowly realized what his dream was. Tevez, who was often teased for his burn scars, always had a smile on his face, and the reason he could keep that smile was football. Through football, Tevez learned the values of respect, humility, and trust. He would play with stones as footballs, becoming the boss of his entire neighborhood. Though his surroundings were dark, Tevez's spirit was not bad when he played the game. Due to his parents' separation when he was young, he initially used his mother's maiden name Martinez, but after his parents reunited, he started using his father's surname, Tevez. His talent was discovered in 1992 by a scout from All Boys. He showed a completely different level of flair compared to the other kids kicking the ball around in the neighborhood, not in formal training. After joining All Boys, Tevez's development was astonishing, quickly surpassing his peers and attracting attention from directors at several Argentine clubs. The most persistent suitor was Argentinos Juniors, who had discovered Esteban Cambiaso in 1995. However, Tevez rejected them and instead wore the jersey of Boca Juniors in 1996. The time it took him to make his professional debut was 5 years later in 2001. In that year, the third under manager Bianchi, Boca's attack was led by Palermo and Bison. Boca had a difficult start to the 2001-2002 season. Around the 10th league match, Tevez was finally named to the bench as a substitute, wearing the number 18 jersey. He appeared in a few more matches afterwards, but as Boca's form soared, Tevez gradually spent more time on the bench. This was because Marcelo Delgado was adding firepower to the front, and the playmaker Riquelme was quickly developing. In the 2002-2003 season, Riquelme left for Barcelona and manager Bianchi was replaced by Oscar Tavares. Tevez began to be used as an option. Although Delgado struggled with inconsistency in the second half of the league, Tevez was steady throughout the season, scoring 11 goals. Even after Bianchi returned as manager, Tevez netted 8 goals in 19 league matches in the first half of the season. At that time, Tevez was still a young player, not yet 20 years old. Tevez wore various numbers, 9, 11, and 10 during Boca's 2003 Copa America Libertadores campaign, scoring 5 goals. Crucially, in the final against Santos featuring the teenage prodigies Robinho and Diego, he was unfazed and helped defeat Santos, securing the title. Adding the Intercontinental Cup victory over AC Milan, Boca was crowned the world's best club, and Tevez was named the South American Footballer of the Year for the first time in 2003. It was an overwhelming victory, nearly double the votes of the previous year's winner José Cardozo of Paraguay. The disappointment for Paraguayan fans continued the following year. Tevez represented Argentina in the Olympics and scored the decisive goal against Paraguay in the Olympic final. The 2004 Athens Olympic victory wiped away the disappointment of the 1950 Olympic runners-up finish, the 2002 World Cup group stage exit, and the 2004 Copa America runners-up. Tevez scored 8 goals in total, half of the team's goals, including a goal in 3 consecutive matches from the quarterfinals onwards, proving his role as the main figure. He won the MVP award, surprising predictions that favored Savioza or Cristiano Ronaldo. It was only a matter of time before the South American Player of the Year and Olympic champion Tevez was called up to the Argentine senior national team. He debuted for the national team in 2004. Manager Bielsa, who took charge of the senior team, set up Tevez as part of a 3-pronged attack alongside Crespo and Saviola. His sturdy build, despite his 173 centimeters height, flashy skills, and rapid dribbling, earned him the nickname the New Maradona, and he became a star after the Athens Olympics. In the 2004 Copa Sudamericana, Tevez scored the winning goal in the final again, securing the title for the team and earning him the South American Footballer of the Year award for the second consecutive year. Then he left for Corinthians in Brazil, leaving a sense of loss. Corinthians, backed by huge capital, paid 22 million euros to bring in Tevez. That's when Mascherano, who would become his English sidekick, also joined Corinthians for 16 million euros. Tevez had an explosive run, scoring 20 goals in 29 matches and helping the team win the league title after a 6-year drought, securing his 3rd consecutive South American Footballer of the Year award. Winning the award 3 times consecutively and 3 times in total was a first since the award's establishment in 1996. Soon, calls from Europe came flooding in. The most interested team was Chelsea, managed by Jose Mourinho at the time. They valued Tevez at 37 million euros, seeing him as the post-Maradona figure. His tactical understanding was considered superior to that of Saviola, who had also been labeled Maradona's heir, and his ability to play both centrally and on the flanks attracted many managers. Although he lacked European experience and was young, his ball retention based on fierce determination ingrained in him from many matches, and his link-up with teammates gave him a different appeal compared to Crespo or Aguero. In that context, the 2006 World Cup in Germany was certainly a chance to showcase his ability, but manager Peckman felt he still needed some fine-tuning for the aggressive playing style. After the 2006 World Cup, Tevez went on vacation to his hometown Argentina. When he didn't return before the crucial match against rival Palmeiras, a conflict with his club began. After he did return and scored, some supporters jeered him. Enraged, other supporters vandalized Tevez's car. The arrival of a new manager, Wagner Mancini, who was a sworn enemy of the Corinthian supporters, increased the likelihood of Tevez moving to Europe.
Chelsea, Manchester United, and Arsenal were all interested in the 22-year-old Tevez.
However, on the last day of the transfer window, August 31, 2006, the team that signed Tevez was surprisingly West Ham. They also signed his friend Mascherano. MSI, which had acquired Corinthians in 2004, partnered with wealthy English interests and were heavily involved as a third party in the transfer to West Ham. In short, West Ham didn't buy him, MSI brought Tevez to England. The start was poor. Tevez appeared on the wing for 6 matches without scoring a single goal. The illegal nature of the transfer was exposed, and West Ham was facing relegation, barely clinging to 16th place. Although the transfer seemed a failure, Tevez insisted he needed time and remained confident. However, the time he took was too long. Tevez couldn't speak English and reportedly couldn't even use the bathroom properly, having to follow Mascherano everywhere. In the latter half of the season, in the 30th match week, he scored his first goal. Before that, West Ham had only won 1 of the 20 matches Tevez had played in, and the odds were stacked against them. West Ham seemed destined for relegation. But Tevez's incredible performance in the remaining 10 matches, scoring 7 goals and providing 4 assists, saved West Ham from relegation in the Premier League. Crucially, in the final match of the season against Man U, which they had to win to survive, Tevez scored the precious winning goal. The illegal Tevez transfer resulted in West Ham being fined a hefty sum, but to the West Ham fans, he was the little hero who saved the team. Due to the third-party ownership issue, Tevez had to leave West Ham. His next destination was Manchester United. His start there wasn't great either. Manager Alex Ferguson had high expectations, and with Rooney injured, Tevez started consistently but didn't register the offensive output he had previously shown. Once he settled in, Tevez began his scoring spree, starting with a goal from Chelsea in the 7th round. The on-power of the Rooney-Tevez partnership was formidable. In his first season, he recorded 14 goals and 6 assists in 34 matches, playing the full 120 minutes in the Champions League final to help the team win the Champions League title. In the 28-29 season, his place was threatened by the arrival of new member Dimitar Berbatov, and Tevez was relegated to a substitute role. Berbatov showed better chemistry with Rooney than Tevez did. Meanwhile, Tevez's goal tally dropped by more than half to just 5 goals. Ferguson cited financial issues, making a transfer to another team unavoidable. Since Tevez was brought in on a 2-year loan, Man United would have had to pay a massive sum, more than £60 million, not to West Ham, but to the third party, MSI, to make the transfer permanent. Of course, Man United fans were very sad to see such a prominent striker leave. How did Tevez himself feel at the time? In the middle of the season, Tevez, who had a strong desire to beat Berbatov in the competition, scored 4 goals against Blackburn in the League Cup, but he struggled to gain Ferguson's trust and realized it would be difficult to stay at Man United. And so, the Rooney-Tevez Beast partnership broke up too quickly. Tevez decided to move to local rival Manchester City in the summer of 2009. He moved to the rival team for €54 million, meeting a complicated fate. Tevez survived the competition with Robinho, Adebayo, and Santa Cruz, scoring 23 goals in 35 league matches. He didn't win the Golden Boot, but he was undoubtedly the team's best ace. Under new manager Roberto Mancini, who took over after Mark Hughes was sacked following 9 consecutive draws, Tevez truly flourished. Man City failed to make the top 4 that season, but it could be said that they had laid the foundation to break down the traditional Big Four. In the 2010-11 season, he was the joint top scorer with Berbatov for 20 league goals, and Man City finished 3rd in the league. Furthermore, they won the FA Cup, making it a great year for Tevez. Crucially, Man City brought in David Silva to unlock defenses and Yaya Toure to dominate the midfield, instilling confidence that they could now reach championship level. Although Tevez was top-notch in the league, the downside was his mentality, especially considering his top salary and treatment within the team. He frequently talked about leaving, wanting to return home, and retiring, fueling transfer rumors. Fans were displeased with Tevez, whose antics lowered team morale. The problem for Man City was the lack of a clutch striker like Tevez. However, when Aguero joined in the summer of 2011, the balance of power shifted at Man City. Tevez clashed with manager Mancini and went AWOL, enjoying a vacation in Argentina. Resistance within the team grew when he finally returned in February of the following year. However, Man City was engaged in a fierce title race with Man United, leaving them no choice but to use the Tevez card late in the season. The result was a great success. Man City won the Premier League, Mancini, who had been set to leave, stayed, and Tevez agreed to stay as well. In the 2012-2013 season, Aguero struggled and Tevez played as a deeper forward, focusing more on assists than goals, leading to a general goal-scoring drought for Man City. The friction between Tevez and Man City continued. During the 2012 title parade, he held up a banner with RIP FG written on it, infuriating British fans who tore his jersey apart. Eventually, Tevez himself decided to leave the English scene and entered the transfer market. At the time, Juventus had not originally wanted Tevez, they preferred Higuain. However, the situation was not favorable for that transfer, and they switched their focus to the relatively cheaper and more skilled Tevez. The transfer fee was 21.4 million euros. Juventus, who had won the league twice consecutively from 2011, fully benefited from the Tevez effect, demonstrating his undiminished skill by scoring 25 league goals over 2 seasons. Tevez, who won the league title consecutively from 2013 to 2015, could not shake off his homesickness for Argentina. On June 27, 2015, he eventually returned to Boca Juniors despite being only 31, a prime age for a footballer. Tevez returned to the Argentine league after 11 years and led the team to the league title. Noticing his performance, the newly wealthy Chinese club Shanghai Shenhua offered a transfer fee of 34.4 million euros, but Boca flatly rejected it. Undeterred, Shanghai Shenhua eventually secured Boca's approval with a transfer fee of 84 million euros
and gave Tevez a yearly salary of 40 million euros, effectively curing his homesickness with money. It was the highest salary for any Asian-based player. Tevez, who had even contemplated ending his European career, couldn't say no to money. He joined in the 2017 season but managed only 4 goals in 16 league matches, leaving China amid criticism. He returned to his home team Boca, claiming he was on vacation in Argentina. However, the 34-year-old Tevez's decline disappointed fans, and the arrival of players like Zarate narrowed his role. In January 2020, with manager Miguel Angel Rosso's arrival, Tevez regained his importance, scoring 5 goals and 2 assists in the final 6 league matches to secure a dramatic league title. Tevez, who had spent his twilight years at Boca after a glamorous European career, was a forward known for his phenomenal work rate in his prime. In other words, his attack was sharp, but his pressing and defensive work off the ball were also superb. Despite the controversy and friction with teams like Man United, Juventus, and even the Argentine national team, the counter-attacking threat formed by the Tevez-Ronaldo-Rooney trio is one reason Man United fans loved the club back then. Given his talent, which earned him the new Maradona moniker, would he have played in a major league longer if he had managed his mentality better? Despite the regrets, Tevez left Boca in June 2021, and after a year out of the game, he officially announced his retirement on June 4, 2022, finally departing the pitch he loved. If you enjoyed the video, please click subscribe and like.